Hello everyone. We're going to do a quick and dirty animation special here. I'm going to turn on my pointer. As usual, I am woefully unprepared because I want to get these things done and show you how to do them quickly. So let's see, highlight. All right, there we go. Turn on my screen keys. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you today how to set up animations for ATS. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how to animate the legs of a trailer and what needs to happen. First of all, I'm going to use the retinue as my example. I've already animated both legs, but I'm going to redo them in this video to show you how it's done, and then you can see the end result quickly. And actually, I put the video out earlier, so you'll be able to see that as well. So let's go ahead and get everything imported that we need. I'm going to be doing I have two different leg animations. The SPIF2 here has a shorter rise. It doesn't go up because the dunnage rack is on the actual legs themselves. So we're going to do the spread just so you can see the full range. All right, so now we have this imported. So we need to do a couple of things. I'm not going to do anything relating to how to do the cable on, cable off. If you don't know how to do that, then you should learn that pretty quick, but you need a handle in the location of cables on and cables off. So you'll need to duplicate this. It cannot be in Viz. It has to be on and off if that's where you want your resting place for the handle. Some people have the resting place for the cables off with the handle sticking out. I will be choosing rather to animate it from its resting position in both locations, both cables on and cables off. So let us see what we can do here. So first of all, you'll need to duplicate the trailer legs. So we'll do that. And we will name them legs, so we know where they're at. And we'll also need to duplicate this handle. And we'll call this handle. Now what we're going to do now is we're going to go up to scene selection. We're going to add a new SCS root object. We're going to call it landing gear. All right. We also have to create an animated model. You select that button here under the SCS object tools. We're going to create one variant. It's going to be the default variant. One look, default look. Now, this is where it kind of strays from normalcy. We will have to, let me do this so I can see what I'm doing. There we go. I want to make sure you guys can see everything that I'm doing. Okay. So, now, by the way, Blender uses all these tabs at the top, and these really set you up for what you need to do. So, by clicking on this animation tab, you get the action editor down below, which you will need to use exclusively for animating items. It gives you a whole wealth of knowledge about what the things are doing and how to make them not do what you don't want them to do, etc. So, first order of business after we've created our root is we're going to go up here to adding an armature. So what we want to do is we want to armature. We want to make sure that this armature is parented to the landing gear. So you select the armature, which we have now, Control click, Control P, set parent. There we go. So now we have the parent here. We have the armature, which is just this bone. Now how SCS does it is they rename this bone root, and then they parent all the additional bones to this bone, and you'll see what I mean here in a minute. So we're going to need 2 bones for this one animation. One bone is going to make the legs go up. The other bone is going to make the handle come out, swing this way, rotate to make the legs go up, swing back together, and then back into the resting position. There are many ways to achieve everything that we're trying to do, so I'm going to try to make it as quickly and as painless as possible. Anytime you're parenting something to the armature, you need to make sure that you select, and you'll make the mistake a couple of different times, but you need to select the thing that you want and then the armature by holding Control and then pressing Control P. See, I've already done it backwards. So armature, Control P, there we go. Okay, so it's, what we want to do is select the armature, select the legs by holding Control, and then press Control P. See, now it's not going to do it. Okay, hold on. Hold on. Okay, so I've done it in reverse. Sorry, I'm going to want to do that. All right, so it's the other way. So it's legs first, then armature, then Control P. That's what I'm looking for. So select the things you want to parent, select the parent, then Control P. You want to do armature deform. So you'll see here, it shows legs. Now it has this wrench next to it. If you go to the wrench, it says it's part of this armature. All right. We also only have the bone still, the root bone. So we're going to duplicate that. Well, that's not what I wanted to do, is it? Okay. There we go. So now we have root wheel 1. So what I did is I've moved, go to the move tool. In between the legs. Now you don't have to do that. You can put it back here and make it go up and down. It's just easier to see when it's in between the thing that you're trying to work on. Now, we're going to call this landing. So that bone is called landing. Now these legs, and I was explained this very succinctly by my good friend, Nice Guy 704, in that animation doesn't change the... I love advertisements on my Spotify. Why is it doing that right now? Oh boy.
The 50 best songs from around the world, always fresh and always brand new. Brought to you by our friends at HBO Max. All of HBO together with your favorite shows, movies, and more.
There you go, HBO. You get a free advertisement.
Capital One knows life
Oh,
doesn't
Capital
alert you
One
about
too.
your credit
Excellent.
card. Hey, Cat Surfers, we've got non-stop tunes to keep you rocking.
We'll turn that off for a second. All right, so when you're thinking about animation, the animating only moves the... It only moves the vertices. It only moves the vertices independent of the object. The object will always stay in its origination point, and you're just moving the vertices temporarily. So you have to do weight painting, which realistically isn't that hard once I figured out how to do it. However, the the music's back now. It makes it complex to explain. But it really is very easy, and the reason, the way that SCS implements animations is by weight painting the vertices that you want to see moved and assigning them to the bone. So in this case, this bone's name is landing. What does that mean, you say? Well, if you go to the legs and you go over here to the object data, you'll find vertex groups. So remember I was talking about vertices. Now if I press plus, it's going to call this a name of group. If I select that group and type landing, now all I have to do is go here to select the legs, go to weight paint, select vertex selection. Now when they're white, it means it's selected, because if I do that, it turns it off. So white is selected. Weight is set at 1 because we want this to move all of these vertices 100% to move with this bone at all times. If you do 50% on some vertices, that will only be moved half the distance that it would be if you weighted it at 1. So you can make things stretch and bend and stuff by using that. But in this case, this is a one metal piece. We're not going to bend it or stretch it. So we're going to do set weight, Shift K if you're a keyboard user. Now they turn red. Well, what does that do? I will show you. Go back to object mode. Go to, also, before I forget, we were talking about the root before. So landing needs to be parented to root. So then we do that. Keep the offset. Okay, perfect. So that was just, again, selecting landing gear, then the root, then pressing Control P, then keep offset. If you connect them, then this bone would move over here. So anytime you're editing the bones themselves and moving their locations on the screen to the thing that you want to move them to, that's done when armature is selected. If you want to make the object move that's connected to the bone, you select pose. So now we're going to select pose, and I'm going to select these arrows to show you that I'm moving the legs by using this bone. So here's where it gets fun. We got to go over here to create an animation. It's called landing gear. When you see this, after you press this plus, what this does is this is the thing that says landing gear.pma in the end after it's converted. So this is the actual PMA file right here you've created. This up here, landing gear, this is the PMD PMG. So this one is the animation, this one is the graphic and data information. So we have the landing gear, we have the legs, we have the bone assigned. We've gone into the legs and named the vertex group. It even goes so far as if you go to the modifier properties, you can select that it's assigned to that. You don't need to do that because it already tells you once you've done that it's assigned in there, but this is yet another way to be able to do it. So now that we have this, we go into pose mode, we can see that it's moving the legs. All right, so now how to create this animation, you say? Well, what we're gonna do is we're gonna do this, and so first of all, you obviously start where the legs on the ground. That's where we're gonna start in this case. I'm gonna make this, I think I made the other one 20 frames. So we'll make this one 20 frames. So this has 19 frames to get to from this position down here to up here. Now, after I've done this, you'll see that you can go back and edit because what I'm going to do is I'm going to do it like I did before and totally kind of screw things up a little bit. So position 1, we're always editing this, right, by the way. We're not editing the actual item itself. We're only editing the bone. We want the bone to move. The bone moves the vertices. So we're not moving the thing, we're moving the bone, and the bone moves the thing. It sounds complex, pretty straightforward. XYZ Euler is what we need for any kind of rotation, by the way. I want to change that up there. So location is what we're looking at. You see these lock here, locking items. So when we click on 1, we can press I. That inserts the keyframe. What that means is it's taken the location that this bone is in and it's written it to a keyframe. So that is where position 1 is. Now, position 20, we want it to go up to match the other one. which is somewhere right there, we'll say. And then I press I here. You've just done an animation, and I will show you. So over those 20 frames, this is how it looks. So we're going to pause that. Now, this is only one part because we also need to do the handle. Now, for me, I put, this is a little bit offset, so it's not 100% gonna swivel the correct way, but this is how I did it, is I went in here, let's make sure, oh, we gotta put the handle in here. So we gotta go handle, let's get out of pose mode. Handle, armature, Control P. Why is it doing that to me? Parent. Let's move it in here first. And then we'll do... Oh, because we're in edit mode, that's why. That's why, okay. So, handle, control, armature, P, with armature deform. If you don't do armature deform, it just won't work. If you don't do the armature deform, like I said, it will not function properly. You can drag the bone up, down, left, and right, and it won't do anything at all. So that part is very important. Now, we're going to duplicate this bone. And we'll just put it right there for now. So, like I was saying, this is how I made this work for me. I selected this, and then I selected the faces, I think, but I also, let's turn on see-through mode. So now I can do this. So now I have the two nuts. So what I can do now is I can snap the cursor to that location. So now I can take this bone, rename it to handle, and selection to cursor. Now I want to rotate it. We'll do that from the front. We can do it at 90 degrees. Then we're going to do selection to cursor again. All right. Now, like I said, you can do this any way you want. This is the way that I chose to do it. Now, you're thinking about, like, as you're doing these things, you're thinking in your head, how does this actually work? in the stationary position as it is right now, first you got to get it out of that location. So do we want to leave it there for a whole frame and then pick it up, or do we pick it up afterwards? You know, pick it up a frame into the animation. So these are all things that you'll think about afterwards, after the fact, and how it looks in game and stuff like that. But for these kind of things right now, I'm going to go ahead and just do what I did on the other item, and then we'll go from there. So what we have to do with the handle now is we're going to have to, again, weight paint, and it's selected. We can set the weight.
So as America starts opening back up for business, and as more of us start getting back out there again, we'll be in big cities,
that's not the right one,
small
is it?
towns, and everywhere in between, doing what we've always done to help keep our local communities.
Let's do this. There we go.
So whether you stop by a Napa Auto Parts store,
all right, then we got to go to weight paint, and then go to
online, you can count on Napa know-how.
vertex, and then Shift K,
Making the right financial decisions has
and
never
it's
been
going
more
to
important.
be
When you turn to Rocket Mortgage, we can help guide you to those right
vertex
decisions
group
now when they matter most. Mortgage rates
handle,
are near historic
assign.
lows, so now is a great time to call 8338 Rocket. And
So
if you need
now,
some extra
if
money,
I
a cash out refinance could give you that
go to
financial
object
boost
mode,
you're looking for.
go to
Call
pose
today at
mode,
8338
select
Rocket, or go to rocketmortgage.com
the
to learn
handle,
Call for cost information and conditions. Equal housing lender. Licensed in all 50 states. And MLS number 3030.
and you can see it moving. All right. So, for example, we'll go back over here, select the armature action. We'll actually rename it gear action. All right. So we're at position 1 again. So let's see. What I'm going to do is I'm going to start this elevated like this. And then I'm going to go over here and action that. And then I'm going to rotate it again this way so it comes out past that little handle part, so I can swing it clear out here like you would do in real life. Whoops. See, I already made my first mistake. Okay. So that's that. Now we got to go to position 2. Now we can rotate it out past that. So that's going to clear that, so that's good. Now we're going to write that one, I. Now, we got to swing it out here, but we got to select 3 and then swing it out there, approximately exactly to 90 degrees or whatever, which is of course hard to estimate. So you just kind of gotta do your best. Something like right there. So we're gonna write that. Now we're at 4. And we'll go up about 90 degrees. See, it's getting a little floppy. So here's where the tricky part kind of you can make it a little bit easier for yourself if you select view, or if you select normal, or again, there's a bunch of different ones. So the view, it always looks the same depending on the view. You see the blue always changes depending on where I'm looking. So it's always the circle on the outside. If I change it to local and I rotate, blue is always this way. It's always left to right in the X direction. Green is Y direction, and red is Z, I guess, in this case, at any rate. It all depends on how you want to make things work. Local usually works if it's something like a needle of a gauge. It's super easy to make stuff work like that. So we want it to, in this view, we want this thing to circle around like this. So this way it stays, it doesn't get all floppity, which you'll come to find out it makes everything much easier. So now we're at 4. So what's 3? 3 is there, 4 is here. So we're gonna go up about 90 degrees. Whoops. If you hold Control and twist, you'll get the dashes so you can see what that looks like. I don't know why this keeps doing that. Now we press I, because we want to lock that in. And then again, we're going to go up 90 degrees. Oh, see, I'm not paying attention. So we gotta go to 5. Like I said, there's a lot of things to remember. I, 6, I, 7, I, 8, I, 9, I, 10, I, 11, I, 12, I, 13, all right, so now we're going to stop right now and we're going to think about what needs to happen. So at 3 rather, we were ready to start turning this thing. So we had 3 keyframes at the end. So we need to start, let's see, 18, 19, 20. So at 18, we need to make sure that this handle is about in this place. Maybe right here. So that way you can do 19 in and then 20 in place. I hope that makes sense. So here's that one, and then we gotta go here. So we're gonna go another 90 degrees. So 20 is going to be right there. And then is going to be swing this way. Whoops. So, now that we have all that mapped out, let's go see what this looks like. And we can go right to here and play the landed gear animation. So the other thing is once you start doing this, you'll realize that when I get here, I haven't even moved this handle and it's already off the ground. So this is where you now can go over here to this one and say, you know what? Let's select these and we'll push them back to 3. So now let's see what that looks like. So I got this out. Now I start spinning. You see that? So now on 3, I'll pause that. Now on 3, I've got the handle out. By 4, now I've pushed it up. Now the bottom starts moving. So it's a bit more fluid like that. Now, when we get to the end, you see 18, 19, 20. It swings back over. So it's definitely, I think we've definitely gotten it right here. Looks pretty good. I'm pretty happy with that. So that's it. So that's the dope sheet, the action editor / dope sheet. The other thing that you can do with this is there's interpolations. In this case, this particular interpolation, if I go to key, interpolation mode. So you'll see linear, Bezier, sinusoidal. You can do a lot of different things with this. Right now, it has a very soft edge on the top. It's almost a Bezier. If you want it to be linear, you can change it right here. That way it doesn't like slow down at the end. You always want linear on things like instruments and stuff like that. You don't want the needle to slow down as it gets to the highest speed you can go. We'll make that linear as well. So let's go back here. We'll press play again.
I became that woman because of a little dress. I am Diane von Furstenberg, this season of my podcast, In Charge with DVF.
So now, there's a couple of different things you can do. You can change the paths if you want to. If you want to make it more difficult for people to edit this, you can make custom paths in here for the skeleton file. Otherwise, it will name it the same as the landing gear file. So now that we're done with this, all we have to do is you can go ahead and go back through and verify everything is set up. This has handle attached to it. That's all beautiful. We've got to make sure that this is still set up correctly. It's on animated model. It's got a default variant and default look. That's the bare minimum. So we have everything that we need to export this right now. So we're going to go and export this to vehicle, trailer owned, retinuer. And you can see I've done my other two here. Export successfully completed. So let's see what that looks like on this side. Bring this over here. So now if I go in here and I look, we've got landing gear, PIA, so that's going to be your PMA after we convert it. We've got your skeleton file here and your pit. So let's open the pit and see what we got. Excellent. So that's everything there. The default part is all there. Beautiful. We can also open the skeleton file. It's showing the rotation and location of everything. That's what this all is for. There's 3 bones, the root, landing, and handle. This is the animation file. It's giving the game information about where the location of the things are as it's moved in space in the game. So that's what all that is. So all those things will be converted, and then you just drop them into, after they're converted, you drop them into your game over here. I will show you what that looks like. So now here you'll see, the gear, animation, PMA, PMD, PMG, and the 2, like I said, I had 2 gear animations because the Spiff 2 with the 5 axles has the dunnage rack in the front, so the landing gear cannot go up as high. So how does that look on the def side? Well, it's going to be a little bit different for trucks, but in this case, I will show you how it looks here. Your animations for your legs are in your chassis file. So if you go to your, in this case, PNW, Pacific Northwest, this is where you're going to enter that information. Trailer _ brace _ model : and then the location of this, as well as your trailer brace animation. So now if we pop into the game real quick, and you'll see that that's what it looks like. Hope you guys enjoyed the video today. I know it was kind of quick and dirty, but that is the very basics of animation and how to get started doing that. That is from scratch. Editing them is a little bit different. Maybe I'll cover that in a different video another day. But for now, that was this one. Hope you guys have a great day, evening, afternoon, and we'll check you for the next one. Bye-bye.